So one thing we don't want to do is change it for a different engine if it's not necessary.
Oh, little did we know. In this video we'll show you how we got from a working van to a non-working van to a van with upgraded power. It all started when we noticed that we had some issues when we pressed the gas pedal. First we thought it was the carburetor, but it turned out that it wasn't the case. We checked a few other things, but in the end we had to conclude that we needed another engine.
So we set the ignition, that seems to work fine. We also worked on the carburetor, which also seems to work fine. The air inlet seems to work fine. So we're a little bit at a loss of what to do now. So we think it's part of the engine, but hopefully it will be something that we can fix. So our old DF engine doesn't look like it's dead yet. Initially we thought that, but it seems to be working fine. But there's something that we don't know that we need to set or to change. And that makes it a little bit difficult to solve it.
We tried to fix it for a little bit, but it didn't work, so we decided to take it out and replace it for a better one. We took pictures of how everything was attached, then took everything apart so that we could take out the engine without any problems. When taking out the engine, we also took out the transmission and the differential. We could upgrade them with a little bit more paint and some new seals, so that they would also be good to go for a few rounds more. You could see that a lot of work had already been done on this van. For example, the hose clamps were quite rusty, so they were difficult to take off. When replacing the engine, we decided to replace also most of these so that we would have a van that is good as new. That also makes it easier to troubleshoot in the future. We thought that we had correctly tapped off all the cooling liquid, but no.
So we're almost ready for the engine to go out. We're going to put the van down and then lift everything, and then the engine will hopefully stay in place. One thing we didn't consider is that we have to actually loosen the exhaust pipe, because it won't fit through the space that we have on the bridge. So that's a bit of a shame.
If possible, it is easier to take out the engine and the exhaust at once.
we noticed some cracks in the differential, which aren't really critical, but still would be nice to fix. So we're gonna take it out, clean everything, and then weld it and hopefully put it back together again, the way it was. There it goes. While taking out the engine, we actually noticed that a few things were still stuck to the bus. So be careful when you do this, because you might have overlooked something. While we were at it, we also took the transmission and the differential out of the car so that we could overhaul it later. If you're gonna separate the engine and the differential, make sure that you first loosen these bolts. It is important because otherwise they'll be hard to reach and something will fall. After we separated the differential and the engine, we first decided to focus on cleaning the differential and the automatic transmission. This was something that we can do ourselves. The engine will be professionally overhauled by someone that we know. The differential and the transmission did not want to be separated, but in the end we managed with brute force. We couldn't have it happen, of course, that we put in a new or relatively new looking engine into a very old rusty engine bay, and there you see what even a little bit of cleaning can do. So the engine and transmission and the differential are out of the car right now. We cleaned the engine bay and now we're doing some rust prevention there. And it's definitely necessary, seeing some spots that we have. And we're also hoping that we can prevent rust from spreading further in spots like this. So now you can also see from the inside that it doesn't really look well. There's really some split seams that we have there with rust. So hopefully at least they won't spread any further, and later on we can do some real fixes to that to make it look pretty again.
Alright, so we're gonna go ahead with the spray painting of the engine bay. It's probably not really necessary, but since we have good access to it now, we're gonna do it anyways. So hopefully everything will become nice, yellow and shiny again. Done. We'll let it dry for a while, but looks pretty cool.
So as you might remember, this was the before. And this is the after. Look at the difference that made. Our second project is replacing the radiator of the cooling system. To reach the radiator, you first need to remove the spare wheel that is located at the bottom of the van. Next to that, you also need to remove the grills in order to be able to reach the radiator from the front. Don't copy my futile attempt of unscrewing these things fully, because a 90-degree turn will do. Be mindful that when you take out the radiator, some cooling liquid might come out. In our case, also in spots we didn't expect. I think we spilled even 4 liters more of cooling liquid in the back because of this. Unfortunate. The new radiator definitely looks better than the old one.
Er zit denk ik nog geen schroefdraad in.
Nee, dat is ook.
Ik stuur hem hierboven wel.
Ja.
And another job well done. Ian also brought back the transmission and the differential. Look at how that turned out. So our next project is building this all back into the van with the engine as well. So we were super excited to see Ian arriving with our brand new engine. So when I say that this is a brand new engine, I of course mean that this is an overhauled Volkswagen Boxer engine. Then again, we did do some upgrades. This one has bigger cylinder heads and also a different camshaft, so it has the power of a DG already. Then we also bored it out to be a 2.08 liter engine, I think, and that will also increase the power massively.
We'll show you how we built the engine back in.
Remember, we also refurbished the differential and the transmission, so we attached that to the engine. And yeah, you might want to remember this seal. The plan is that this will stay together for a long time because we used stainless steel for almost everything to attach it.
Dus we kunnen instellen dat hij automatisch 4K doet.
Dat is waar. Er zit ook al een stapmotor op. Die was...
Yesterday we prepared everything to put the engine actually back inside. So hopefully we can make that work today. So let's go!
And then we could just attach the engine to the van again. This thing does have a front and a back, we found out, so keep that in mind.
So I don't know if you're familiar with these types of engines, but the coolant system is quite complicated. We have the radiator all the way in the front, and then the engine, of course, is in the back. The coolant liquid needs to go all the way from the front to the back of the car. Then of course this is a boxer engine. So we have basically two parts of the engine, two cylinders on the one side and two on the other. All in all, I guess the coolant system is one of the most complicated things you will ever see in a regular car. But the rest is quite straightforward, so that's great.
With this new engine we also have a little bit more power, that means also a little bit more heat. So in the future we'll want to attach an oil cooler to the oil filter, but before that we are going to do the old system still. For that the water pump has these two things delivered with it, and we're super happy that we found them because at first we didn't think we had them. This one will be for some coolant hoses when we have the cooler, but until that we can plug it up with this one, so that's super nice. So the engine is back in, not everything is connected yet, so we can't start it yet. The next thing we're going to do is put in some fluids and some oil, so we can test the pressure on that. So we started the engine, everything seems fine, the oil pressure is there, we don't have an exhaust yet, so we can't get it started for real yet.
Today we're gonna install the stainless steel exhaust pipes that we've ordered. So we'll start with an unboxing and then we'll actually install the thing.
This was our old exhaust pipe. Now it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. And now with the new engine we decided that it would be a great time to replace it with a stainless steel one. Where this one already has the advantage is that it's just very nice and shiny. It also arrived just in time because we really wanted to get the engine in and get it started.
As you can see, we have pre-fitted the complete exhaust system. It's looking quite great, it's stainless steel, so it will never rust ever again, which is a great relief of course. So now we're on to installing.
When you are replacing your engine, it is a bit easier to attach the exhaust system when the engine is still out of the van. In our case, we had already built it in when it arrived, therefore we opted to install it with the engine already in the van.
So the only thing that was not included in the exhaust pipe are these. These are the brackets for the silencer. So I guess I'm just gonna clean those and make them pretty again. So as you can see, we have attached the exhaust at 4 places. So there's 2 at each side of the engine. So there's one over here, one over there, and another one here, and then one down here. And for now we have just loosely attached them so we can find the best fit, and then we will screw it all together so it fits nice and tight.
Of course, items that should fit out of the box rarely do, so we had to make a few adjustments to make everything work well. So that looks really amazing and very shiny. And with this in place, we can actually start the engine for the very first time since we installed it. So let's see how that goes today.
So unfortunately disaster struck and we have some kind of leakage. So probably we made a fault in the installation somewhere. So we're currently investigating and hopefully we can fix it still.
The engine sounds great, but unfortunately we had the seal the wrong way around. So we had to take the engine out again. But Ian and Wim were kind enough to do the work for us, and in their evenings they took out the engine again, replaced the seal and then put it back in. So let's try that again.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Let's see.
It's working! Woo!
In one go!
We showed you how we installed our new upgraded engine, and we need a carburetor to match. Luckily this carburetor already came with a conversion kit included. So we have the carburetor here, but also, as you can see, the conversion kit was delivered with it to make the transition a bit easier. Our old carburetor was the Pierburg carburetor that came with the DG engine's water boxes, and our new one is a Weber 3236 DGAV carburetor. The main problem that we run into in this case was that we have an automatic transmission instead of a manual transmission. The manual transmission came with a throttle cable and we have a throttle rod. We have to see how we can make that work for our carburetor as well. As you can see, the water inlet for the cooling and the throttle are in a slightly different position as well. We have to make adjustments for that too. The easiest part was to install this adapter. We now go from 3 bolts to attach it to 4. Since we have a throttle rod instead of a throttle cable, we are a bit less flexible there, so we have to shorten it in order to make it work. Also, it's a bit old, so it could use some upgrades by Ian. Et voila, here you see the fully upgraded throttle rod. So now that we have everything shortened and adjusted, you'll see how the setup will work when it's installed on the engine. Alright, now for the exciting stuff to see if we did all the measurements and adjustments correctly. Somehow the spring we had for the kickdown was a bit too long, also on the previous engine, so we shortened it a bit to make it work. Now this was a bit difficult to film, but here you'll see us installing the throttle rod to the automatic transmission. So far, so good. It seems to be working so far, so let's attach everything in place. Now we are attaching the coolant pipe that we already have very carefully as to not spill too much coolant liquid. The next thing was to adjust the fuel pipes a little bit. And lastly, we had to get a little bit creative on the pipes because they were not all the same size. However, in the end we found an old coolant pipe that had exactly the bridge in the sizes that we needed. Time to start it and test it out. Since there's no fuel in there yet, it takes a little bit of time before it really starts. But there it is! We were told that this thing would work out of the box practically, but we didn't fully believe it. Well, it worked perfectly. Lastly, we put the pancake on top and we were happy to see that the lid of the engine bay would still close. So now we can drive the van again. With the new carburetor in place, we are now ready to go on our very first trip. Very excited about that. We'll show you more about that in the next video. So don't forget to like and subscribe so you get those updates. And we hope to see you then. Bye!